Welcome. My name is Yucca, and this week on the Atheopagan Society's YouTube channel, we are talking about daily practices, which I think is such an important thing to discuss. So, first of all, let's think about why somebody would want to have a daily practice. And this is really going to depend on the person. So a little bit later on, I'll share with you what I do for mine, but let's kind of discuss the idea in general. So someone might want a daily practice as a way of helping them to feel more connected with nature, or to help them have a day that they feel healthy and productive, or because they really just want to feel kind of witchy, or whatever the goal is. Each person's going to have different goals, and those might change throughout our lives. So when thinking about what you want your daily practice to be, I think a really good place to start with is, of course, well, what are your goals? Now, once you have some goals, thinking about what are the tools that you have for your daily practice. Now, the tools that you're going to choose are going to depend on what you like as a person. So for me, the tools I use are very different than the tools that my partner uses, because we have very different neurotypes. We are different people, right? Now, some of our goals are similar goals, right? We want to really live every moment to the fullest. We want to be good parents. We want all of these different things. But what are some of the tools that you could use? Now, I bet some of these tools are things that you already use every day. In fact, I would argue that most people have a daily practice anyways. The issue is whether it is intentional or not, and whether you have intentionally crafted that to help you with your goals. So some common things people might use are focuses, like a focus or an altar, where you have things that have really strong meanings and symbols to you. And you might change that out with the seasons or with your time of life or that sort of thing. Other kind of classic tools might be meditation or music, right? I'm not a big music person myself, but maybe some sort of music or dance, things like that. A moment of time in nature. One thing that we do is star time and sun time. Journaling, all sorts of things like that. So once you have your goals, you have some tools that you know you can use, then it's time to plan. When are you going to do this practice? And of course, that's going to depend partly on what the purpose of the practice is. So if it's about the day that you're about to have, the morning time might be a logical time to do that. But some people find the evening as a time of reflecting on the day, or maybe the kind of twilight hours feel just very magical to them. So think about when that might be and how to fit that into your life realistically. So that being said, there might be several different levels of daily practice, because some days, that's the cat jumping up here. He wants to be part of the video too. Let's see if he comes around and you can see him. He likes to get in front of the camera and block it. So you just see this big thing of orange. We'll see if he does that. Okay. Anyways, different days are maybe different in your life. Maybe you're super busy and you work 10, 12-hour shifts on 3 days of the week and you don't on these others, or who knows, or you've got weekdays and weekends are different for you, or the days that the kids are doing this, or all sorts of things. But what can you make every day? And this may not be possible, but you can think about what is your everyday practice that is your kind of no matter what you get in there. And then also your days plus, like your ideal that you would love to, right? Not all of us are going to be able to take half an hour every evening and do a relaxing bath and guided meditation. And as wonderful as that sounds, that might not be realistic for where you are in your life. Now, if that's something you want to work towards, starting anywhere and just working towards it, awesome, right? Just see what is going to work for you and how to fit that in. Okay, so I'm going to share with you about my current daily practice. Now, I am not saying this is the right way to do it or the only way or anything like that. This is just what works for me, and I'll share it in case there's any inspiration or ideas that you get from it. So I'm really into having a very intentional practice because for me, it's a big deal that this is all I get. I plan to live as long and healthy as I can, but that's actually still a really, really short amount of time. So I think about how can I be really present and focusing on the things that matter most to me. So with that being my starting goal, I think about, okay, well, if I want my day to go a certain way, and of course I can't actually control what happens in my day, but if I think about it, if I go into it conscious of some of the challenges that I might face, I might be able to do a better job responding when things come up. So I start my day trying to get up earlier than anyone else. Notice the trying in there. They often wake up as well and come to join me. But I start with a journaling practice. And I really like journaling. I actually got my journal here. I go through about 3 or 4 of these a year. And I have the notes for the video right here. And so I wrote that this morning when I was sitting down with my morning cup of broth. So I sit there. It used to be coffee, but now I'm trying to not do the caffeine thing. Works for some people. It's been nice to be off of it. But I'll sit down and also sit down with my calendar and think about the day. But I also think about what my goals are and really reflect upon what I want in life and what I want for the day and how I'm going to do that. Now that's my personal practice that I do. And then a little bit later on, when the rest of the family gets up, we have a family practice as well. Now in the winter, we come into here in the greenhouse. During the warmer months, we'll actually go outside and we try and do it barefoot and get some sun on our faces, say hello to the sun. And there's some little kind of affirmations that we'll say about greeting the day and, remembering that mistakes are an opportunity and that kind of thing about choosing to be happy. And then we'll talk about what are the things that we're grateful for every day. And then there's 2 more parts to this as well. We'll talk about what we're grateful for, and then we'll brainstorm about things that might go wrong. Things that have the potential to go wrong. So let's say the day is a day that we have planned to go to grandma's and we're going to go to grandma's and have a picnic in the backyard and all of that. We talk about, well, what if the car has a flat? What if grandma has the flu or something like that? And then we think about and kind of role play or practice how we would respond. And this is actually remarkably powerful. This really has set us up for success. This is a technique that we borrowed from the Stoics that really works I don't remember what it is, premeditatio malorum or something like that. But it's been really positive for us to think about what's the bad stuff that could happen and how do we want to respond to that. And then we talk about what are we going to focus on in ourselves. So what's the thing, I might practice about being patient, right? Being really patient with my children or with myself, or being kind or not jumping to conclusions or whatever it is that I need to focus on, and encouraging them to think about those same things. And we like to do this out in the sun and notice what's going on, right? This is south, by the way. And so in the winter, we can still see who are the birds who are out there and how's things changing. We just make some observations. Now we'll do something similar in the evenings. It's not quite as elaborate, It's talking about being grateful for the day and how it's okay. We can let what is just be. We don't need to kind of hold on to the judgment around that, and it's time to rest. And then I finish the day usually with my own private journaling practice, and we make a point to go outside at night and look up at the stars if the moon's out. We live in a very sunny climate, so it's almost always stars, but sometimes there might be clouds, and if there are, we just kind of feel it and make an observation about what is it like now? How is it different now with the clouds than without? And, we listen for what animals do we hear? So that's what we do for our day. I do as my personal and then family daily practice. So for you, it might look really different, right? Because maybe you don't have a family, or maybe you have a different type of family, or you have different goals. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity in developing a daily practice, whether that's something that is 2 minutes, or whether that's something like mine, I guess, ends up taking probably about 40 minutes total out of the day. So maybe it's a 40-minute or an hour practice, something like that. Anyways, let's go ahead and finish up here. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, I would be fascinated to hear what any of you do for your practices, if there's anything you would like to share about that, or what you'd like to do, or how your practice has changed over the years. Because I certainly know for me, it has really changed over time. And I look forward to seeing what happens to it in the future. Thanks, everybody.